My name is Tim Meadows. I'm a member of council here in Galloway Township. I want to welcome everyone here today. Mr. Crewmaker and his minions came up with the idea to move the celebration from Martin Luther King Day, Day of Service, to the Galloway Township Middle School. And this is exactly where it should be. In the past, it's been held at council, Galloway Council. The last 12 years, Stockton has had their day of service, which is wildly popular. But we started to drift just a little bit here in Galloway Township. So Kevin and his planning committee decided that we need to put this in the hands of the students. What a wonderful idea that is. Part of this is to recognize and develop leadership and character in our students. And one way to do that is to remember how we got to where we are today. Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King sacrificed a lot for civil rights, but it wasn't just civil rights, it was for everyone's rights. He said injustice to one is an injustice to all. And those words ring true today. He refused to let fear divide us. His goal was to have hope. And that brings us together. Having these students here today, it gives me hope for the future, as it should for everyone. At this time, Pastor Al will give us our invocation. Pastor Al from Beacon Church is very active in our community, whether it's a salute to veterans or our September 11th, 9/11 observance. Pastor Al never refuses, especially if you promise him a cup of coffee. So evidently the coffee trick worked again. Pastor Al.
Thank you, Tim. Cold weather almost got me. I almost wasn't going to come because of the cold weather. Not really. I'm honored to be part of this service and ceremony today. I've been blessed to have 3 daughters graduate from the Galloway schools, and my wife and I really appreciate the education they got through the Galloway schools, and it was just a blessing. Before I do the invocation, I just felt led. Someone giving me a great book by Tony Evans. He's an African-American preacher from the state of Texas. He's got a big church. He wrote a book called Kingdom Man, and I've been using this little devotional book. Each day when I get the chance, I'll read a devotional thought by Tony Evans. But he quotes, I think this is appropriate for today, he quotes the Apostle Paul in the book of Galatians, chapter 5, verse 13. For you were called to freedom, brethren. Only do not turn your freedom into an opportunity for the flesh, but through love serve one another. Let's pray. God, thank you for the opportunity we have to gather this morning. Thank you for those that have put this together. It's great to be back at the middle school and just honoring just a great man. And I just pray, God, you bless each one that's participating this morning. I pray that each one of us would take Martin Luther King's example and be the kind of man that he was, what he stood for. He accomplished a lot of great things, and I pray that we would continue to honor him and be reminded of what he did on our behalf as American citizens. God, just again, we're thankful to gather. Bless each one that participates. Thank you for those that have come out today to honor this great man and be reminded of what he did. I pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor Al. Yes, it is. You almost got it for me. I'd like everyone to please stand so we can salute our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Jim Quinto, and the principal of DT Alexis Junker, and the committee worked very hard to put this program together. And student council are the ones that are really leading this effort under the direction of a very dedicated staff here at GTMS. That's one part of it. The other part is the ones that have come before us. I must mention Reverend Bass, who passed away almost 2 years ago. Reverend Bass was one of the driving forces that kept this whole effort alive for so many years. And boy, he really passed it on to his children. Miss Springback Smoke and Charlie Bass, his children, his wife is here. They have really put a lot of effort into making sure that this is something that will not be forgotten in our community, and rightfully so. So with that, Mr. Bass, would you please come forward?
Thank you very much. I was honored when Crewmaker called me to ask me to be a part of this celebration. And I recall several years ago when my father approached me and he said that he wanted me to put the history of the committee and the whole Martin Luther King Day to music. And he said, well, I wanted, you know how he would say it, I want you to do something for me, Charles. Put this to music. I wanted to be put to the Battle Hymn Republic. And I saw all these names and everything and said, oh, well, a little tongue twister in here, but we're going to make this work. So, in honor of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, and I also get to honor Dad Martin, the other Martin Bass, Galloway Township marches on.
It all began in '88, an historical affair. Hubert Simmons was the manager, Meg Worthington was the mayor. Then Charles McWhorter asked the council to declare Dr. Martin Luther King's birthday. January 16th, celebrations all began. Harry James, the keynote speaker, essays were written then. There were even poster contests and awards were given then. Galloway Township's marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Galloway Township's marching on. Well, next came Dr. Stevenson, and then came Dr. Smith. Mayor Mooney, Ryan, Brass, and these were celebrated with speakers Gideon Saunders, Donaldson, Gregory, Harvey, Robinson, Bill gave homage on that day. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, 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 hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Galloway Township's marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Galloway Township is marching on.
Spring, Charlie, thank you so much. I don't really know, but I'm pretty sure that your father's looking down and he's as proud as he can be that you are carrying on the legacy that he worked so hard to bring about. At this time, we have the Roland Rogers Elementary School choir directed by Lawrence Little, and they have the presentation for us. Mr. Little.
Hi, so our first selection, we're actually going to be doing two today. It's called A Time for Peace, and I felt like that really speaks to a lot of the messages that Dr. King had promoted during his life. So students really gravitated to this song, and we hope you enjoy it.
things that Dr. Martin Luther King understood probably better than most was that in order to enact change, you had to be able to communicate. And he could communicate with both his voice and his written word. And he left a legacy for us to follow. And all we have to do is look. All we have to do is read. And all we have to do is think about it. So this year, we have the Galloway Township Middle School Martin Luther King Essay Contest winners. And they are going to read their essays for us. In third place, Priya Parikh. Please come forward. Our second place winner is Liberty Nuttall. Liberty? And our first place winner is Logan Home. Logan is away on vacation this weekend, so in his place we have Andrew Mayhew. Andrew? And this is the winning essay.
Martin Luther King Jr. said, "I have decided to stick with love. Hate is too grave a burden to bear." I believe he meant hate is too heavy of a weight to carry. When you let go of hate, a great burden is lifted off your shoulders. Trying to cope with hate is difficult and has stopped society from growing. I strongly feel there's a lot of hate in society today. Hatred is based on fear or ignorance, influenced by stereotypes or experiences. All people are created equal, but many in society may not realize this. So they hate others because of what they are like on the outside or what religion they practice. Just because they come from the same country or have the same skin color does not mean that they share the same views. Some people let their hatred take things too far. In a recent life event, a Caucasian man walked into an African-American church in South Carolina during a prayer service. He was welcomed even though he looked different. They did not know he was filled with hatred because they were all filled with love. He shot and killed 9 people that day for no reason other than the color of their skin. One of the people killed was the mother of Chris Singleton, a Charlestown Southern University college student and baseball player. The day following the shootings, he went on television with his teammates by his side and told the world that he forgave the man who killed his mother because he knew that his mother would forgive the man. This took so much courage. Many people said that they were shocked by his forgiveness because they were filled with anger over the senseless shooting. But if this boy who lost his own mother could show forgiveness, then they must too. The community united around him in love and support to show that this act of violence had the opposite effect the shooter had intended. The community had let the hatred go. Martin Luther King Jr. wanted everyone to come together and live as one. He didn't want anyone to hate. He forgave those who fed the hate and stereotypes and spoke out for nonviolent resolution to problems. When Martin Luther King Jr. said, "I have decided to stick with love, hate is too grave a burden to bear," he wanted everyone to let go of the hate that they had and learn to love one another. Chris Singleton got Dr. King's message and embodies it. He learned how to let it go, and in doing this, changed the minds of the entire community. He's inspiring, like Dr. King was. This is how I strive to live my life.
Thank you, Andrew. Mr. Little, how about another song?
On the side note there, we practiced that for 3 rehearsals. 3 rehearsals, 20 minutes each, that was it. Wonderful job.
Thank you, Mr. Little, for us. I'd like to recognize 2 individuals here today from the Galloway Township Board of Education. Mr. Huggard and Mr. Daves, thank you for being here. The Board of Education recognizes that there's a lot of work that needs to be done and is being done here at Galloway Township School District. And they work very hard to ensure that we're growing the next crop of leaders here in this community to go out into the world and to be leaders, to be responsible, to know that there is something bigger than themselves in this world, and they are willing to put forth whatever effort is necessary to achieve that goal. Today we have 2 of them, the president of the Galloway Township Student Council, Gracie Harris, and the vice president.
This poem is entitled Standing Tall, and it is written by Jeannie Mackenzie in honor of Martin Luther King. Some kings ruled their kingdom sitting down, surrounded by luxury, soft cushions, and fans. But this king stood strong, stood proud, stood tall.
When the driver told Rosa, move to the back of the bus. When the waiter told students, we don't serve your kind. When the mayor told voters, your vote don't count. And when the sheriff told marchers, get off our streets, using fire hoses, police dogs, and cattle prods to move them along. This king stood strong, stood proud, stood tall. Speaking of peace, of love, and children hand in hand, free at last, free at last.
When some yelled for violence, for angry revenge, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth, he stood his ground, preaching peace.
And when some spit out hate, he stood there smiling, spreading love, until it rolled like the sea across the land, sweeping away Jim Crow, breaking down walls, ringing the bell, joyfully for freedom.
Until standing on the mountaintop, they shot him coldly, hoping to see him fall, hoping to put him away, to bring him low.
But this king, even in death, even today, stands strong, stands proud, stands tall, and we remember.
Very good, thank you very much. You know, listening to that, it makes me think, you know, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King probably could have had it so easy. You know, he was a smart man. He could have got himself a church. He could have lived a rather privileged life, quiet comfort. But he couldn't do that. He saw the inequities in our society. He saw where people of color went off to war, but when they came back home, they were denied the same privilege of education, of jobs, of housing, of voting. That they could fight in the jungles of Vietnam, but they came back home and faced Jim Crow laws. And for you students that don't know what Jim Crow is, please look it up. You Google everything else, Google Jim Crow laws. And it was a de facto discrimination. And Reverend King he couldn't sit back and just allow that to happen. He had to seize the day, and he did. Mr. Conlon?
This is a song from the Broadway musical Newsies and the movie Newsies. And the important lines in here are, they'll never take our rights away, and one for all for one. It's called Seize the Day.
Sorry for the technical difficulties.
Open the gates and seize the day. Don't be afraid and don't delay. Nothing can break us, no one can make us.
Sorry, Brian.
Open the gates and seize the day. Don't be afraid and don't delay. Nothing can break us, no one can make us. Give our rights away. Arise and seize the day. Now it's time to seize the day. Set up all and join the fray. Wrongs will be righted if we're united. Let us seize the day. Friends and friendless, seize the day. Raise the torch and light the way. Proud and defiant, we'll slay the giant. Let us seize the day. Mother to daughter, father to son. One for all and all for one. Open the gates and seize the day. Don't be afraid and don't delay. Nothing can break us, no one can make us. Give our rights away. Mother to daughter, father to son. One for all and all for one. Mother to daughter, father to son. One for all and all for one. One for all and all for one.
Thank you very much, Mr. Conover. At this time, Mr. Conover has a special presentation for us.
Is anybody here see my old friend Abraham? Can you tell me where he's gone? He freed a lot of people. Seems the good die young. 'Cause I just looked around and he's gone. Is anybody here see my old friend Martin. Can you tell me where he's gone? He freed a lot of people, but it seems the good die young. 'Cause I just looked around and he's gone. Does anybody here see my old friend John? Can you tell me where he's gone? He freed a lot of people, but it seems the good die young. 'Cause I just looked around and he's gone. Didn't you love the things they stood for? Didn't they try to do some good for you and me? We'll be free someday soon. It's gonna be one day. Has anybody here see my old friend Bobby? Can you tell me where he's gone? I thought I saw him walking over the hill with Abraham, Martin, and John.
Thank you, Mr. Conner. Ladies and gentlemen, you're in for a treat right now. We had a walkthrough last Thursday for this program today. And this next presentation will make you stop and think. It was put together in such a way that you really could not stop and think about it. Who do we have here now? Mr. Gwynn. Can you come forward, please? We also have Mr. Evans here. Mr. Evans taught in Galloway schools for 35 years. My kids, that deserves an applause. My kids went to Galloway Township schools. They graduated from New Jersey colleges, and when I had a gathering for my son's graduation, there was one person that they asked if they had the time to come and speak. They wanted Mr. Evans. I had my family here from Louisiana, Texas, Alabama, Virginia, Massachusetts, Maryland, and Ohio. And Mr. Evans, on that Saturday, he stopped what he was doing. He came over and spoke to my family. Still think about that. I really do appreciate that, Mr. Evans. But it's not uncommon. Did a lot of that. As do so many members of the staff here at Galloway Township Middle Schools. So at this time, Mr. Glenn.
Thank you. This is a presentation that is going to include student council, and it's going to conclude with the singing of My Country 'Tis of Thee. And I'm going to ask that, we're going to ask you to join us in singing, but I'm also going to ask that you hold your applause until after we sing My Country 'Tis of Thee. It starts with a video presentation, and it's entitled, the whole presentation is entitled Voices. And when we had the idea to do this, I thought there'd be a perfect voice for the narration of this video, and I was thinking about calling Mr. Evans and seeing if I can get him to come over and do the voiceover for the video. And then when I found out he was going to be here in person, we scratched the idea of the voiceover, and he's here. So as soon as we get the video ready and everything going, we will start. Here, give us a second, Mr.
voices delivering words that inspire, motivate, organize, unite, and free us. Voices that provoke thought, begin dialogue, enhance and ignite debate. Voices that declare war, and voices that bring us news that wars are indeed over. These voices are presented to us in ink, in the form of audio recordings. Some Americans have heard these voices as they were spoken. In the infant days of our great nation, it was the voices of these men: John Adams, Thomas Jefferson, Ben Franklin, and our first Commander-in-Chief, George Washington. From this room in Philadelphia, voices of equality, justice, and dignity would echo across the globe and inspire others to work for the good of the human spirit. Mahatma Gandhi, Mother Teresa. Throughout our nation's history, voices for justice and the rights of men continue to be heard. Dr. Martin Luther King, and John F. Kennedy. Both King and Kennedy were heavily inspired by the voice of this great man, Abraham Lincoln.
7 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty, and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. That we here highly resolve that these dead shall not die in vain, that this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and a government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from him.
My country is of thee, sweet land of liberty. Of thee I sing.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. My fellow citizens of the world, ask not what America will do for you, but what together we can do for the freedom of man.
Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride, from every mountain side.
One day, this nation will rise up, live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal.
Let free
Mr. Gorbachev, chairman of this war.
Let me assert my verdict that the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. My country is we land of liberty and we are free. Land where my fellows lie, land of the pilgrim's pride. There is mine, sir. What your country can do for you. Let freedom reign. From the mighty mountains to New York, great nations, let freedom reign.
Mr. Gorbachev, chair down this war.
Let me assert my verdict.
Shall not perish from him.
From the mighty mountains to New York, and freedom reign from the heights of what your country can do for you, and what you can do for your
Shall not perish from him.
Let freedom reign.
And so, I ask you, my fellow Americans in this room today, whose voices in our time, today, will be remembered in our tomorrows.
I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream.
I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed.
We hold this truth to be self-evident, that all men are created equal.
So let freedom ring from the hilltops of New Hampshire.
Let freedom ring from the mighty mountains of New York.
Let freedom ring from the Alleghenies of Pennsylvania.
Let freedom ring from the snow-capped Rockies of Colorado.
Let freedom ring from the slopes of California.
Let freedom ring from the Stone Mountain of Georgia.
Let freedom ring from Lookout Mountain of Tennessee.
Let freedom ring from the every hill in Mississippi.
From every mountainside, let freedom ring.
And this will be the day when all of God's children will be able to sing this song with new meaning.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand and join us to sing My Country 'Tis of Thee.
Help us out now. Here we go. 3. My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of a pilgrim's ride, from every mountainside, let freedom ring. Let it ring one more time. Let freedom ring. One last time. Let freedom ring. Thank you. Mr. Conover, Mr. Evans, and Student Council, Mr. Crewmaker for helping put that together. Thank you very much.
Can you have another hand, please? Thank you very much. At this time, would the members of the St. Paul CME Choir please come forward?
St. Paul CME Choir has been performing at multiple Dr. Martin Luther King celebrations over the past 25 years. Actually, it started when I was in 1988, and I was just a teenager. So, we just want to send a message out to you that we need a lot of love in this community. That's what's going to help us get through the day. That's what's going to help us get through life. Not war, but peace and love. So we just want to extend this wonderful message to you. We need love.
ladies and gentlemen, Superintendent of Schools in Galloway Township, Dr. J. Quinto.
Good morning, everyone. I'm not sure that having the closing remarks after all these amazing performances is the best slot on the agenda, but it is certainly my honor and pleasure to have an opportunity to close today's program. Interesting, when I was thinking about what I might say this morning, many of the people that came to mind were represented throughout the things that were read, the video, because there are so many great leaders of various countries, of our own country, over history, that give us the words and, more importantly, the action and example. I hope, like me, you also learned some things today and perhaps heard a new song, a new poem, a new quote. We brought together the tradition, dare I say the old, with the progressive and the new, and the wonderful diversity. It's been my pleasure to be part of the Galloway school community for more than 20 years. And one of the things that I think makes this community special is the wonderful diversity. You don't have to travel out of Galloway to meet people from all over the world and to learn from that great richness. This morning, you experienced the amazing talents, be it writing, be it singing, be it video creating, be it speaking, of our students and staff. And we are truly blessed to have such talented people. More importantly, by your presence here this morning, whether you were part of the program or here to see and hear the program, you cared enough to take the time, that it meant something to you. The messages that we heard of peace, of hope, of respect. I will bring your attention to the wonderful mural on the wall here. And this was created under the direction of art teacher at Smithville Elementary School, Mrs. Jamie Sariaco, and students and staff throughout the entire school put the mural together. And you can see that it is dedicated to the peaceful work of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Hopefully it will inspire each and every one of us. And I truly believe that peace begins within yourself, in your personal relationships, how we interact with each other each and every day. And it goes out from our inner person to our relationships, to our community, and hopefully to the world. You don't have to look very far to the newspaper, to the internet, to the television, to see what very often is the bigger message, where we see many more pictures of hate and anger and violence. I don't see World News Tonight in the room today, filming our amazing students and our wonderful staff members and community members. But we are here, and we can take the message we felt today and heard today and learned today and had reinforced for us today, and we can carry it out into the world. So I want to thank everyone who was involved in putting the program together. You could see their names on the bulletin. You met them throughout the program. Certainly a shout out, and I have to do this, to the woman that I call the First Lady of the Student Council, Mrs. Amy Crewmaker. Her husband is Kevin, the Student Council Advisor. And I will also mention my secretary that I call the First Mom of the Student Council, because her daughter Gracie is the Student Council President, Ms. Heather Harris. So I would be remiss if I did not mention that. And we certainly have teachers and administrators and so many, already mentioned our board members. But I want to thank the parents who brought their children today. And again, please take what you felt today, the positivity, the peace, and the hope, and carry it with you. To conclude today's program, we have what has been a long-time tradition at Galloway's Martin Luther King ceremony, is the St. Paul CME Choir with We Shall Overcome. Thank you.